Welcome into Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Welcome to the show, all my good peeps out there. This is Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. We ain't far away from the NFL season. We got some interesting show topics today, including a lot of injuries that are going on around the NFL, including my Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday, as you know, spent a lot of time going back and forth on Twitter. Had a lot of fun. Look, Twitter keeps me young. I'm in my 40s. I need some, punching back and forth. And even if you have to teach the young millennials out there a little bit of a lesson on what actually took place with Fernando Tatis and the Padres and the Rangers, it was great. Kept me going all day long. Wasn't able to work out any premium plays yesterday on the card. But again, that's not what we do here. We don't just fire away because we want action. We fire away because we want to win. So hopefully something shows up on the card today and we can improve on our 2-0 premium start to our Major League Baseball season. Did well yesterday on the card with Sportsbook View, but I did drop my play of the day on the Major League Baseball show, and it drew dead right away. I mean, come on, man. Oakland gets one run in the second, gets blown out, doesn't even try the rest of the game. Come on, guys. But I actually went 3-1-1 on the overall pick 5. So a decent day overall, but I do like to hit. And basically the only thing that matters is hitting the overall play of the day, and that didn't work out. But there are some decent shots here. I got to say, it sucks. I thought I was going to be really excited about Major League Baseball having these doubleheaders. Like, more baseball. But I don't bet them at all. 7 innings. I'm a team total guy. The team totals, I don't even know if there is team totals basically for those games, because all I see are the totals for the game that comes up. And it's a 7-inning game. So is there even any first 5 innings of a 7-inning game? So it really throws out 2 games that you could bet on during the day and just removes them for me. So when you see these huge cards like we have, specifically today, a lot of 1 o'clock games start, which is great. We'll have some fun all throughout the day. And if you're looking from a Philadelphia perspective, which probably none of you are except me, got the Sixers, got the Flyers, and the Phillies. I was surprised because I'm living by the seat of my pants right now. Enjoyed the Flyers game in the afternoon yesterday at 3 o'clock. Went on and did a show, Game Time Decisions, with Gabriel Morency on the Sports Grid Network. I always have a lot of fun with that. Finally got the kinks worked out on the technical difficulties that they were having, so I was able to have a good time on that show. But that came right after it, and it's like, all right, you take the deep breath, right? And whew, all right, so you get a day off and you get ready to see if they can close them out. And then I wake up this morning and I see the Flyers are playing again tonight at 8 o'clock. It's awesome that we have this, though. It is really cool, especially when I don't know. Sixers probably going to get bounced round 1 by the Celtics. I think we know that. The Phillies, playing again today, smack Boston around. And just to tell you how old I am, I went to bed when it was 3-2, which is only the 6th inning. And I woke up expecting to see a Phillies loss and actually saw that the Phillies had won the game in a big fashion. And Bryce Harper is ripping the cover off the baseball, batting over 360 on this young season. So some interesting things here going on with the Phillies, the Philadelphia 76ers, and also the Flyers. And I guess it is a full court press today with all these things going, and staggered too. Phillies at 1 o'clock. What are they? Sixers come on around 6:30. And then the later game for the Philadelphia Flyers tonight at 8 o'clock. So we get to watch it all, not, side by side at any point, but I guess maybe Sixers game. But then again, most people are expecting the Sixers to get beat. So is what it is out here. Welcome in to whoever's watching the show there. Austin Marshall. Yeah, hump day. It certainly is. And it's great. And I love the fact that I'm working so damn much right now. I love the fact being on air all day long today. I'm looking at my schedule up on the board. I have this show, 1:30, sportsbookreview.com live show, Major League Baseball. We do every day, Monday through Friday. And that's with both myself and Jason Radowitz. Great show, great following, awesome stuff. And then I have to do a Pub Sports video as soon as I get off the air. And then I have to do a Right Wager video, pick out a free play today since we didn't have one yesterday, or a premium play. Hopefully we can find that. That'll be shot out. And then I also do a sportsbookreview.com NFL live show today with both me and Kyle Proviance. So, really no sleep for the weary at this point. And as they say, the game must go on. So when the game must go on, we got to get to work today and get these people what they need. Hot topics coming right here. Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Let's go. These are your Sports Betting with Donnie hot topics of the day. As I get the notification on my watch here that I'm actually live on YouTube. Thanks, guys. It's only 4 minutes late getting that out there to the good people, I guess. Or maybe that's just my watch not syncing up in time. But we are live. I do thank you for tuning in. 421 subscribers already here on YouTube. Let's keep kicking that higher each and every day. It is moving up a few notches here. So if you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Not only do you get the show here in the morning that you get the notification for, but also when we release a free play. And also, obviously, that's usually attached with a premium play. During the afternoon, you get to know that it has been released in a nice little video on what we think about those games and think about at least that free play video that comes out. So I do thank you, but we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch also, as well as rightwager.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, look, hey, 2-0 in the season. This is our home for rightwager.com. It's where we put the flag in the ground. And we continue to win all season long. And as always, third-party documentation. I can't stress that enough. People tracking by Twitter, on their own website. You know, people bet, people lose, people go away, and oh yeah, I won all year long. Meanwhile, you didn't win it all. It's nice that you can actually see a third-party monitor out there that says, I wonder what is he actually winning or is he actually losing? Tracked on Capper Tech for the past year. It's a great service. I used to be on Handicappers Watchdog for a long time, but that site sort of fell off, and they weren't, updating their site correctly with adding team totals and things that you want to bet and lines that you actually bet, not just some random line that you have to pick out of midair. So it has been nice. Been a great run for the last year, and all these stats are up on the website and all broken down too. Major League Baseball, college, NFL, all time, all that stuff's up there, so you can certainly see it and get what you need on that information. But how about the Bucks and the Lakers in trouble? And not from a fan perspective for myself, because honest to God, I could give a damn if the Bucks win or the Lakers win. I'm not a fan of either team. Who cares? But I'll tell you one team that does, or tell you one league that does care, and one head of a league that does care. That's the NBA and its executives. Thinking about doing a video a little bit later this afternoon, going really in depth with Pub Sports Radio on my thoughts. But when you take a look overall, and let's bring it up here. Let me see if I can find something up here on. Let's just go to a New Jersey sportsbook. We'll go to FanDuel. Usually the easiest one to bring up right here. Won't be able to bring it up on the screen since I don't have it on that side monitor, but I just want to take a look at what we actually have here as the odds now to win the series. So let's go NBA series odds. Okay, here we go. So series winner. See, the Lakers are still a minus 220, and the Portland Trailblazers plus 176 here in New Jersey out of FanDuel. So even though the Lakers lost game one, still a minus 220 favorite in this series. Let's take a look to see if we have any other ones here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we can slide it down. Bucks and the Magic. the Bucks are minus 6,000 to win this series still. That's hilarious. So you have a 1-8 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. They're down 0-1, and they're minus 6,000. But the Lakers are minus 220 after being down 0-1. That is crazy. That's craziness, man. It's interesting to see, though. It really is. I was watching a little bit yesterday, and again, I'm an old man. I fall asleep. I work way too much. I'm up way too early, doing way too many things, because even though I do all this video content, it takes long to prep. It takes even longer. I have to edit my own videos. Then you have to do live stuff. Then you need to eat lunch. You got to walk the dog a few times a day. I take my kid to camp. I got to pick my kid up from camp. And before you know it, it's 7:00 at night, and getting a workout in the morning on the treadmill, and then another workout in with some weights in the afternoon. It's 7:00. I'm exhausted. I can barely. That's why I like to take a team total that knocks out in the third inning. Like, whoa, thank God, man. Like I can't do it anymore. But boy, it does help you sleep at night. I get a really good night of sleep, and I'm refreshed. And it's not I don't have a job that says, God damn it, I'm so busy and I don't want to wake up and I don't want to do this job. I live the life of Riley, as my wife always tells me. I'm in my office all day long. I'm talking about sports. I'm doing videos on sports. I'm betting sports, and I'm watching sports. It's the greatest life of all time. Thank God somebody blessed me with a decent voice, and I can remember it. I'm not senile just yet, and I have some decent takes on some things. Thank God. It's great that people want your services, people will listen, and people enjoy the content, because I like providing the content, and I don't like to do content for nonsense. They say, well, Donnie, your show in the morning doesn't get a lot of, people. People watch it throughout the day, but that's not the point of it. You have to have an even balanced flow to your day, and it's what I call like my sports day, where I wake up in the morning, I need to talk about what happened last night and what was going on, and then I need to shift my focus at midday to say, all right, the baseball card's out here. Let's take a look at the baseball card. And then I need to do a show on the baseball card and get even more thoughts out. And then in the afternoon, you got to let those thoughts sink in. And then the nighttime, you may put out another video for a free play, or you actually have a premium play on your site. Then you watch it happen and you wake up in the morning and do it all over again and talk about it. It just helps me do it, because if I'm not on film, I'm going to be running it by myself anyway. Like, ooh, how about this? The Bucks and the Lakers are in trouble. I don't think they're either one of those are in trouble for the actual series, and the prices show it, but it looks like the Milwaukee Bucks are still a sure thing to win their series against the Orlando Magic, and still a prohibitive favorite for the Los Angeles Lakers at minus 220. But from a perspective of the NBA and Adam Silver, this is a disaster. This is a disaster. Just like in the East, nobody cared about anything in the East except LeBron James getting to the finals and all by himself trying to take on a team from the West. That's what the NBA executives lived on. We have to get LeBron James to the finals because he is the draw out of the East. So now when you take a LeBron out to the West Coast now and you have everybody in the bubble, the draw in the East, even though it's a small market, is Milwaukee with Giannis. Nobody wants to see look, people love Toronto out there. I understand it. Yeah, Toronto's a good basketball team. We all understand it. Nobody wants to watch Toronto. Nobody gives a damn about the Boston Celtics and the 19 guys that they play out there. Nobody cares about them. Maybe you have a little bit of interest in the Heat, but they don't have LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade anymore. They're not a huge draw. The draw is Giannis for the NBA and making sure that he gets to the NBA Finals. And then when you look out west, look, hey, there's a lot of fans out here. Oh, I like Portland. Portland should be able to take them down. You know what Adam Silver and the NBA are talking about right now? How can we sabotage this series to make sure LeBron, who is the draw in the NBA and the Lakers franchise, to get them to the finals? If you sit Adam Silver down, if you shut the doors, if you take away all cell phones and you have a one-on-one interview and you say, Adam, what would you like in the finals for your league? He'd say, I better damn sure have Milwaukee versus LA, because everything else will be a ratings disaster. Yeah, hardcore NBA guys will watch the Rockets in the finals. They'll watch the Portland Trailblazers in the finals, the Thunder in the finals. But the country doesn't want that. The overall guy that says, what's on tonight? Lakers and Giannis, the MVP? All right, I'll take a few minutes to watch that and see what's up. Maybe if the game's good, I'll stick around for the entire game and be able to talk about it with the boys at work. But the common guy is not going to sit back and be like, hey, who's in the finals tonight? Honey, it's the Raptors and the Blazers. Yeah, I'm good on that. What's on baseball? We got baseball tonight, or, the NFL's starting up. Let me just watch like Hard Knocks or something. Like, nobody wants to watch those teams. It's just the way it is, man. It's just the way it is. Thanks, Austin, man. You're a nice guy. Appreciate it, brother. But look, it is just life. It's life. I love the 76ers. They're my squad. They're probably going to get bounced. But the country doesn't want to see the Sixers without Ben Simmons, and I know this. Nobody cares about the Celtics outside of Boston, and I know this. Nobody cares about Toronto up north without Kawhi Leonard. The average man would watch a game right now and be like, I have no idea who's on the Raptors. Who are these guys? Who are these players on the Raptors? I don't recognize any one of them. That's the common fan in the United States right now. But if they turn on and see the Bucks, they'll see that long-ass name on the back of the jersey. Like, that's the Greek Freak. I know that guy. Might not be able to tell you who anybody else is on the team, but they know him. When they turn on the Lakers, they'll know Unibrow. They know who Unibrow is out there. They know who LeBron James is out there. They don't have to know anybody else. LeBron, Giannis in the finals. The NBA needs it to happen. And the fact that both of those teams are sitting at 0-1, Adam Silver is pushing the panic mode. You ever see the Staples button that you slam down? Bang! They are slamming it down. The bat phone is ringing. Like, hey, it's nice to have upsets. And it's the same way we talk about the NCAA tournament, where it's so much fun, like opening weekend, like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that upset. A 15 just upset a 2. It's awesome. A 1 just upset a 16. Awesome. And then we're the same people complaining in the Elite Eight or Sweet 16, like, who the hell wants these little guys here? Like, we want to see the big boys play each other. Same way in the NBA. Same way all over the place. The NCAA loves an upset for that game, and then is furious that Kentucky didn't move on. Syracuse didn't move on. Duke didn't move on. Everybody likes the little engine that could for a little bit, until the little engine that can, then we don't like them anymore, because we want our stars. We want to see that electric Final Four. We want to see the 1s and the 2 seeds, the blue bloods. That's who we want to see in the Final Four. We don't want to see George Mason make a run like Jim Larinaga did years ago. We don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Hey, who's in the first game? George Mason. What? Who's in the second game? Oh, Duke's in the second game? Who's Duke matching up with? Oh, Kentucky? Okay, I'm in on that game. Yeah, I don't know who George Mason is. That's the common fan. And that's the way this business always works. Ratings win. Ratings absolutely win in this business. No question about it. And it's the same way in the NBA. It's the same way all over. It's not a slight. They would say, well, Donnie, you just don't like my basketball team. It has nothing to do with not liking the basketball team. I don't like the Lakers. I don't like the Bucks either. But I can certainly tell you who they want to win those series. And the NBA certainly wants them to win. And that's the big boys. That's Giannis and the Lakers. Going to take just a 1-minute break here. RightWager.com. You know where to be. Best place on the internet. Get those premium plays, boys. Hey guys, Donnie here with RightWager.com, your handicapping home on the internet. As you know, we specialize in NFL, Major League Baseball, and NCAA hoops. And as always, we are 100% verified on third-party CapperTech.com. If you are a gambler, this is your place to be. Affordable packages, 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, 6 months, and even up to a year. Also, when you stop by the site, you'll notice sports content right here with the live broadcast home of Sports Betting with Donnie. There is no better place to be in the handicapper community than RightWager.com. And as always, I like to say, what side are you on? Welcome back in. Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Let's talk a little bit of NFL football here. Belichick talking platoon with Cam. Rule number 1 in the NFL, don't listen to anything that Bill Belichick tells you. And the perfect reason why now even more is we don't have any preseason games, so we can't actually see it play out on the field. You know, whatever they're doing behind closed doors and not letting maybe the press in for every practice, they can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. Because, you know, when they come up in game 1 of their season, the other football team that's preparing for them doesn't know what the hell to expect. It's smart gamesmanship out here. And let me just bring up and see some of the lines that we have listed here. If I could get it up in a second here. Come on, man. What's the internet always messing around here? Well, let's bring it up on this screen. Let's see if we can find it right here. Let's take a look here. NFL. And we will slide this down. New England. Hey, look, say undecided. Look how genius Bill Belichick is here with a nice little undecided. Open up as 7-point favorites here. Down to 6.5 in some of the New Jersey outlets here versus the Miami Dolphins. So, all right. So he's going to play a little bit with Flores out here, right? He's going to say, hey, you know, you don't know Brian Flores, who I'm going to run out there quarterback. It'd be hard. Look, and again, I don't put anything past Bill Belichick, to be honest with you, on what he looks to do. It's very easy to say, like, he's going to try to prove everybody wrong with Jared Stidham, but then brings in Cam Newton. So theoretically, you don't really want Cam Newton to come in and play a backup role and learn a system. Like, you're going to use Cam Newton, especially if he's healthy. And he probably gives you a better chance to win than Stidham, but we all know the hard heads over there in New England with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, that they would rather prove you wrong. Like, oh, I'll win with Stidham. I don't care. I'll win. I'll show you. I'll win with them. It's the way they are as an operate as an organization. But the simple fact that it's kind of funny that it's saying like, oh my God, I might lose a platoon, and is he going to come in and just run the Wildcat? Dude, Cam didn't go to New England to run Wildcat. I can tell you that right now. Cam didn't say, let me go up to New England, learn the playbook, but run me into the ground as I try to look for a contract next year. It's not happening. Now, maybe if he comes in on like the 1 yard line and, you know, he plows around and does what he does, I understand that. But come on, man. Like, honestly, he didn't go there for that. I wouldn't be surprised if Cam Newton does show up day 1 start, and also wouldn't be surprised if Stidham calls up. But one thing the NFL is going to have a problem with, and already starting to have a problem, and specifically pissing me off, and I'm having a problem with it with my Philadelphia Eagles, are the injuries that are going around. You know, he signed Javon Hargrave, who's going to be a big player on this team. The Eagles are snake bitten with defensive tackles that they pay a lot of money to. Fletcher Cox is awesome. Fletcher Cox is all-world, all-pro. Lives up to it every single game. You go out and you sign Malik Jackson to go next to him last year from Jacksonville. Dude plays like 1 snap in game 1 and is out for the year with a broken foot. And then you say, all right, well, we have Malik Jackson coming back. Let's beef up this defensive line with really get push from our defensive tackle position. Let's shore it up and go out and get, you know, Javon Hargrave from the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a great signing. Good young kid, can push the pocket. And out of nowhere, oh, hey, by the way, we like to sneak this in at the end of the press conference. Javon Hargrave has a pectoral injury week to week. Thanks. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Wait, what? We didn't even see the guy in pads, and he's already got a pec injury, which happened in weight training, not even on the field. Jesus. Derek Barnett with a week-to-week injury, ankle. What the hell are the Eagles doing over here? Signing linebackers in the offseason that retire? Already lost Brandon Brooks. I don't know what he was doing, working out as well, blowing his Achilles out, best right guard in football. He's not going to play this year. And then, oh yeah, boy, we can always lean on Miles Sanders. And, well, he's week to week now also with a lower body injury. And we're got to ask on this. Like, well, where did this get to on this, by the way? Lower body injury and upper body injury in football. Like, I understand that we don't have preseason games. But what's the deal here, man? Like, if Javon Hargrave, like somebody's going to spill the beans and they find his pec injury, lower body. Like, we know what it is. It's not hockey. Like, oh, he's got a hurt finger. We're going to slash his finger. You're not even playing for a month. What does it matter if you report an injury to Miles Sanders and you say it's lower body? Does it matter if it's an ankle, knee, or groin, or hamstring, or quad, or calf? What does it even matter? I don't understand. Some things I just can't understand in this stuff here. Cam Newton is the start of week 2. Look, I think he might be start of week 1, man. I think he might be the start of week 1. I do. What's good, Ray? How you doing, buddy? Seattle has the best value on future bets. You know what? It's kind of interesting when you talk about Seattle because if you ever watch me or follow me on Twitter, I'm the biggest proponent for Russell Wilson. I think he's worth more to his team than now. Mahomes might be crossing over that because of how special he is, but Russell Wilson is worth more to his team than anybody just about in football, period. And it's not even close. But the added incentive where you always like to have Seattle, specifically in the regular season, is the 12th man and how hard it is to win. Now, it hasn't been up to snuff over the past year and a half in football when you look at it. Like, teams are being able to go to Seattle and win. But that deafening crowd noise, the same way that you would look at New Orleans Saints or how they have such a home field advantage. They don't have a home field advantage because they have a good football team. They have a really good home field advantage because the fans are able to chip in and blast that noise and rattle the away team. You know, even if you say, well, it's really not that late. You go into it. It's like when you go into Denver and they always make sure you know you're playing at Mile High. It's hot. It's high up here. You're going to be, breathing strong. And as soon as you walk down the corridors to get out to the stadium, it's lined on the walls. Here's the sea level. We're 5,200 feet up. Caution, you might lose your breath out here. It gets in your head. When you go to play the Seattle Seahawks or the New Orleans Saints or the Kansas City Chiefs, before you're even worried about the game plan, you are worried about the noise before you get there. When you get there, it's loud. But teams can deal with it. Teams can win in that environment, but it's loud. And I got to say, when you look at Seattle, you're taking a large part of that mystique away by removing all the fans because that's a huge part of what helps them win at home. The other team's offense just can't hear. But injuries are creeping in a lot more. And look, some of these guys were in pandemic stage. They were all working out during the pandemic. Don't get it twisted. They didn't just show up to training camp or when the pandemic was done, say, oh, fine, I can work out. They were all working out all the way through. But it's a lot different when you're not doing OTAs because if anybody has ever played football at any level, all the way through midgets, high school, middle school, college, pros, whatever you've done, you can never simulate an NFL practice. You just can't do it. Like you can run all the laps you want. You can do all the gassers you want. You can run all the routes you want in the off season, go up against your, teammates in 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, work out as a team. But once those pads go on, it's like day one and the bullets are flying. You can't replicate that stuff. You just can't replicate that stuff. And it's hard. So, when I look at this year and I say, you know what? These injuries are happening. Boy, it's really happening to the Eagles. And look, like even McCoy, you bring him in as a guy that's going to be able to push the pocket in Dallas, and he doesn't even make it to like full pads before his quad gives out and he's gone. So when you look at that overall talent for the Dallas Cowboys, they're getting bit a little bit by that. You saw a middle linebacker, Mac Wilson, go down for the Cleveland Browns yesterday. And they don't know what's going to happen with him. I think it was in the same collision which knocked Nick Chubb out. So now talking about talented players that you barely even get going. Like you don't even get, as we like to say, build up those calluses with the shoulder pads. Like get used to hitting. That's why they used to always tell you back in high school, back in the 90s, hey, man, you got to hit a couple times a week just so you can get used to what it feels like to get hit and you won't get injured because we all know as soon as the lights go on and you're saying, oh, man, the real bullets are flying out here and You haven't hit the ground all off season, and now you're getting pile drived in the ground. You better get used to it quick. So that's a tough measure with the NFL, and I'm worried about that because it could affect, obviously, the quality of play as it moves forward. Now, fortunately, quarterbacks don't do all that much in camp. You guys are I always like to reach back on what what I saw, and we would show, and I never could understand it. And has anybody and again, I know a lot of you haven't played college football or pro football, obviously, but a lot have played high school football and lower down levels. But in college, everything gets ramped up a lot. And I was a wide receiver for 4 years. And I would just be baffled, even my freshman year where we ran a completely different offense. We were wing T offense, and I was a wide receiver. I had maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 catches my freshman year. Sophomore year, we got a new coach, went to a more pro-style offense, was in the 40s with receptions. And I had a good career. I ended up, when I left college in the late 90s, as the all-time leading pass receiver at my school. But I used to always be amazed, because I was all we did was run. All we did was run, man. All we did was run. If the offensive line, if we had, let's just say we're going up in a thud drill or, an 11-on-11 drill, and we would, I don't know, let's just say run a screen pass. My only job was to run 40 yards downfield and run my cornerback off and then run back to the huddle where the linemen were only going and pulling for 10 yards. And everybody's back in the huddle and the quarterback doesn't do a goddamn thing. So and then we're doing a running play. So what's my job? Run 10 yards downfield, try to contain the cornerback. Or if I'm, running over, my job is to go pick up the safety or the free safety lingering. I have to run 20 yards to catch up to him. And then of course, if anybody knows, the coaches in the high school level and college level, finish the play. You're not going to run 10 yards. You're always supposed to score a touchdown. So what did that mean? The running back had to run a tall sweep and run 40 yards. And I'm the wide receiver on the backside. I have to run all the way across as if I'm hustling to pick up that last block and do it over and over and over for 2 to 3 practices a day. So I used to get a kick out of by day 3 where all my toes were blistered up and I could barely walk into the cafeteria to get food. You'd see the D-backs and you would see the linebackers. They're just chilling. And so I'm God, I ran 37 miles the past 2 days. You guys ran 3 miles. And here I am. But that's, still gets in my crawl at this point. But we all know those injuries build up and just those little knickknacks and getting the calluses built up on the pads and just running your routes and getting those aches and pains. You don't actually know if you're injured yet, right? Because I've had times yo, man, my Achilles is really sore. The next day, my right knee out of nowhere is sore. My left elbow is sore. I wake up in bed, I got a stiff neck. Damn. No, it is I try to relay it over, man. It's all real. The worst thing in the world is football camp. The worst thing, I'm telling you, even back in the day, we would be, and again, it's the same at all levels again. We used to come in the locker room and you would know, you would play on a Saturday, you'd have off Sunday, but we usually have a film meeting or a team meeting on Sunday night. And then Monday was almost like a semi-walkthrough, but more, we used to run a lot on Mondays during the season to get the lactic acid out, get the soreness out. And then we would pad up on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we would scale back on Thursday, go with your shells, which is your shorts, shoulder pads, and helmets. And on Fridays, you'd have a walkthrough before the Saturday game. And just the simplest things we would love. And you always have to have the coach's pet. And when I was in school, it was an offensive lineman named John Lyman, it's funny, lineman, but his name was Lyman. But he was the guy who was always close, probably the best player on the team too. And we would come in on a Tuesday, and you don't know how good these words would feel on a Tuesday when we're yo, John, dude, man, go ask coach. Dude, tell coach we don't want to be full gear today. We don't want to be full gear. And every once in a while on a Tuesday, the coach would come in and be and I'd say, coach, man, come on. Can't we just go shells today? All right, shells. And it was the biggest win of your life. It was the great, you wanted to sit down in your cubicle and get ready and just have a tear shed down your face. We don't have to go full gear today. Just that. Just putting on the equipment and heading out on a Tuesday. Tuesday was the worst day of my life. Because you knew you still had a Tuesday practice, you had school, you had a Wednesday full practice, you had school. At least on Thursday, I can go out there. And then Fridays, man, you would go out with the wild socks and, you'd just be out in shorts and get your final workout. And it felt good not to have any pads on, just your helmet. But goddamn, on Tuesdays, man, when the coach no, we're going full gear today. Man, I can't deal with this anymore. But just that simplistic football thought of a football player where just your coach walking every once in a while. every once in a while, coach would walk in on Wednesday and be like, all right, let's just go helmets today. And it was like a party broke out in the locker room. It was like the greatest day of your life. Like you couldn't even believe it. Like you're getting in there, you're ready to get your pads on, and coach is like, just going helmets today. Like, oh my God, this is the greatest day I ever lived in my life. Just simple stuff like that. Because as soon as you put your pads on and walked out and it was 80 degrees, you sweated already. But football practice, man, make you man. It really does. It's the worst of all time. There's nothing worse than football practice at all in the world. But just playing in games made it all worth it. But then again, Tuesdays and Wednesdays were the bane of my existence in college, man. The bane of my existence. Junior Duane is hell yes. It's always finish the play, full speed jogging. You can jog your asses home. Jog. Yes. Dude, football. I'm telling you. And look, I think I wouldn't have the same experience today because they can't do what they used to do even back in the 90s. Like my dad would tell me when he was playing high school football, they weren't allowed to have water breaks because it makes them weak. So they would actually have salt tablets. So no water and salt tablets. That would make you stronger back in the day. So at least by the time I got there in the 90s, I didn't care about hitting. We didn't have concussions. There was no such thing as concussions in the 1990s. But you're right. Like all the juice that you would get like at the end of practice. And the one thing that finally came out as a science, and I know I always like to get off on a tangent on the show, but it's fun to talk about. The science that finally came out where the coaches would scream at you. Like we would do gassers at the end of practice, and they would be timed. And we would line up with like, I don't know, let's just say, the skill positions would run together, the linemen would run together, and then the linebackers would run together, like all the way through. And you had each time to do it. And the coach always liked the fat kid on the offensive line who was a little bit out of shape. He would always struggle, and you have to cheer him on, like to get across the finish line, and everybody would have a lot of fun with that. But after you ran and ran and ran and ran, I wasn't pretty obvious. All I did, I was like a marathon runner anyway. So at the end of practice, gassers, they didn't bother me one iota. I ran them as hard as I can, bang, 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 I was done. So the big boys that aren't used to that always had a struggle with it. But I used to always get a kick out of, don't you dare put your hands on your knees. Get them up over your head. I don't want to see anybody with their hands on their knees. And then that report came out like 6 months ago that basically said, like, hey, by the way, it's better for your respiratory system and you get your wind back sooner if you have your hands on your knees as opposed to over your head. You son of a bitches. You son of a bitch head coaches all my life that told me I had to have my hands over my head when I just wanted to sit there with my hands on my hip and just wanted to sit there with my hands on my knees. You SOBs who lied to me my entire life that it showed a sign of weakness if I put my hands on my hips or my knees. I want to write every single one of my head coaches all throughout the years that told me it was a sign of weakness to put your hand on your knees when actually it's better and quicker to actually regain your wind. You SOBs out there, man, that hurts. That hurts that you guys lied to me in that spot. Let's talk a little bit of Major League Baseball that took place yesterday. Going to take a quick break. Sportsbookreview.com, 30 seconds. I'll be back right here on Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Hey guys, Donnie here with SportsBookReview.com, the single best place on the internet for video and also written sports content. You see me do a lot of videos on our YouTube channel at SBR Sports Picks, bringing you all the latest up-to-date information. And also, if you want to win at sports betting, it's always important to get the best lines possible. So check out SBRodds.com, SportsBookReview.com. Hey, back on the show, Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. By the way, these commercials that you see, I did them myself. Yes, I did them myself. So 6 ABC, CBS 3, NBC 10, you want to hire me to do some promos for you, I got you. I got you guys out here. But let's keep going here. Major League recap from yesterday of what took place on the card. Nice Tuesday cards that set up. And starting right off on SBR, that Colorado-Houston game, I had the under. Look, I don't know what is going on with Houston. They keep winning, but they keep winning 2-0, 2-1, 3-2. This game went to extra innings and ended up again. Same score that Houston seems to always have, 2-1 overall. I thought the game would get over in San Diego and Texas. Got over, 6-4. San Diego, Boston, another grand slam. How about that Will Myers early in that game to make it 4-0, but they hang on for a 6-4 win. How about San Francisco? I thought the Angels would be able to get over their team total yesterday against Trevor Cahill, 8-2. They bossed the hell out of them. Some interesting shenanigans late where a pitcher was throwing bullets at Mike Trout's head that ended up missing, and a little bit of words after the game, but that was an 8-2 final. And how about this one? My play of the day, a team total over with Oakland. They score one time off Luke Weaver and get beat 10-1. And I saw the game early, got 5-0 quick. I'm like, this is perfect. This is perfect. You're not in any save situation for the Diamondbacks. As the game gets later, you're not going to waste your best relievers on the game because it's a blowout. They'll be able to chip away 5-1. The game goes 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, 9-3, and eventually be able to catch up and get that total of 5. They didn't do anything for that entire game. I thought the game would go over on Game Time Decisions. I told Gabe, Toronto and Baltimore, I like the over 9.5 in that one, and it ended up at 10, but they scored 15 runs, 8-7. That didn't surprise me at all. Also, I was looking at the under in the Tampa Bay New York Yankees game, which was 9. That was a push, but also at the Tampa Bay side, good baseball team, but when you have Snell on the mound, that's a spot that I do like the back, and it's a short, but it's hard to take unders at Yankee Stadium, regardless of who's pitching, and had a decent pitching matchup yesterday. And still were able to push that at 9. Cleveland and Pittsburgh 6-3. I think we all agreed that was the easy one to go with. The New York Mets just continue to slay the Marlins. I wish my Philadelphia Phillies were able to slay the Marlins like everybody else, it seems like, in Major League Baseball can do. 9-15, 9-16, that was yesterday. Washington and Atlanta, I was close in that game to taking an over, but didn't get exactly what I liked. 8-5 win by Washington over Atlanta. And how about this? The Dodgers finally get slowed down. They win the game 2-1, but those team launch angles will get slowed down yesterday by Gonzalez, crafty left-handed pitcher. Those guys are always interesting to me because sometimes they get slaughtered, but every once in a while they just hang around. Seems like they have a full count every single time because all they do is nibble on the plate. But if you're not in, crack mode up at the plate and waiting on your pitches, you get sort of impatient, saying, all right, well, if he's not going to throw it over the middle and it's going to get close to the plate, I might as well swing at it anyway. And that seems like what took place. The Phillies yesterday explode late in that game. I believe they scored 11 runs from the 6th inning on. Bryce Harper hit a 3-run blast. Finally, Rhys Hoskins did some damage, but they did a lot of it. They were down until I believe Gosselin came in as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, and it really opened up with 2 outs where they were able to score 7 runs in the 6th inning alone. Minnesota continues to move on 4-3 with a win over the Milwaukee Brewers. I like Minnesota, and I know Jason liked Minnesota also, first 5-run line, which was pretty cheap in that one. It took them to the bottom of the 5th to get it, but they did get it. Young kid Skubal, I believe he got busted up early in this game. Easy winner for the White Sox, 10-4 over Detroit. And then the last game on the card that was listed was was a double. I think it was a doubleheader yesterday, wasn't it? I guess it wasn't a doubleheader. Ponce de Leon. And that was another one I was close to also. The Chicago Cubs team total over. That ended up getting 6. So maybe could have made a little bit of money yesterday, but that's neither here nor there. Let's bring up today and go over some of these early previews just to get a look of maybe some things that we're nibbling on a little bit. I circled a couple of games at a couple spots that I do like. First game, and again, I listed these all in chronological order as opposed to on the rotation, so we can keep looking at this here. Toronto, Baltimore, Roark, and Malone. And the lineups are out now, which is nice. And I saw the Phillies lineup come out. I'm not going to be able to switch it around and get everybody's up here, but the lineups should be able to hit here. It's not a B lineup. It still looks like you got a lot of decent. I don't know about Anthony Alford, Reese McGuire, and Santiago Espinal at the bottom of that lineup. So that leaves a lot to be desired. But you're going to get that down in Baltimore, specifically with a over-under of 9.5. I still think that sits right on the number. Let's see the weather out there. 78 degrees, wind blowing in a little bit. So good weather down there at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Philadelphia and Boston. Hart got laid out as last time. We'll see if Jake Arrieta can, I don't want to say have a bounce-back start, but just be a little bit better at what he's doing. Let me just take this banner down so we can get a little bit more of a preview up here on the screen. There we go. All right, so now we take a look here. Arrieta and Hart. Phillies bats continue to come alive. There's no reason why they shouldn't hit Hart today. There really isn't. And I know their lineup is out, but it doesn't have it listed here on Sports Insights for the time being. 8 out of 10 tickets coming in on the Phillies. Line's improving too. Pinnacle opens up 36, now sits at 46, and that over-under is 11. And why not, though? Like, seriously, why would you not just keep on taking overs? That Boston, everybody hits this Boston team. You get good weather again today. You had almost the same identical weather conditions yesterday when we looked. Partly cloudy, 79 degrees, wind blowing out. Fenway, small ballpark. 2 pitchers that can be hit. We know this kid can be hit for Boston. St. Louis and Chicago, I believe the doubleheader comes today in St. Louis and Chicago. Let me just see if they have it listed later here as well. St. Louis, Chicago. I don't have it listed up here, but I thought that was a doubleheader too. Who knows? I'm so confused by these doubleheaders, by the way. I'm trying to look even on my list here down the list. Chicago. All right, we got Flaherty and Mills. Yep, that's the game that's listed up there. Yeah, it is a doubleheader. So we have one 220 start and a 550 start. Just not, I couldn't find it. Was all the way down the bottom, so I couldn't find it here. Glasnow and Cole, good pitching matchup here. Cole opened up at 2-1. Now sits at 176, so going back a little bit. 8.5 now turned into 8s. And it's hard. Look, sometimes you just want to take the New York Yankees team totals over. I get that. Glasnow's a good pitcher, but is this one of those spots where you're saying, hey, well, yesterday Tampa Bay looked really good, but now you're going up against another level, man. When you level up and go against Garrett Cole, it's really hard to beat that guy. I mean, when's the last time he lost? Like 2 years ago? It's wild, man. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Savale versus Brault. They should be able to hit him, but again, not great matchup. Still waiting for the bats to overall line up for Cleveland, but the lines are going up 163 to 173. Over under at 9s, but you are getting some 8.5s out here. Points bet out of New Jersey, 5 dimes, and also Chris showing up at 8.5. DeGrom and Lopez, you want to go back to the well with the New York Mets and say they're going to continue to get their team total, but Lopez has had some good numbers on the year so far. But that's an expensive number. It opens up at 240 offshore and now sits at 217, 225, 215. So it is coming down low with an over-under of 7.5. But that lineup is starting to wake up for the Mets. But again, you like to get both of the matchups in. You want that starting 9 for the Mets to have good numbers, but you also want to have the pitcher that sort of be stumbling, and Lopez isn't stumbling to open up the season. Here's one game I was really looking at. Opened up at 10. Now it sits at 10.5, so it's going higher. 7 out of 10 tickets here coming in on Washington. But look at this, some role reversal here, right? So Fetty opens up with this high ticket count. Wright opens up with a lower ticket count, more money actually coming in on Atlanta, and it opens up with Pinnacle minus 111 and goes to 129. Like that's wild out here. So Atlanta not getting a lot of ticket love, but getting a lot of love here at the window. The only thing that worries me, and I'm going to click it up here on the screen right now, when you take a look at the weather, 80 degrees. Now the precipitation seems to have gone a little bit lower, so hopefully that continues to change because I'm not all that worried about the wind conditions at 5 miles an hour, to be honest with you. I'm really not. But the thing I am worried about here is the precipitation because I saw it being a little bit higher earlier. And that's one of them where it's like, the umpire's calling it quick and you don't want to waste any time, get your swings in, keep it moving. So that worries me just a little bit in that spot. But I do think that it's a decent shot. Cincinnati, Kansas City, I believe also are in a doubleheader today. I could be wrong here, but let me check my screen here. So we got Cincinnati. And no, I don't. Good. So that's a one-off game today, I'm going to assume. Cincinnati. All right, Bauer Harvey. So we might be able to check in there. Welcome back, Harvey. Steve Harvey back into play here because I don't see anything else. It's an 8:05 start, but I don't see anything else earlier here. So good. So that game will be in play. I'll be able to take a look at that. Let's get some weather conditions out there in Kansas City. What are we looking at here? 80 degrees. Wind blow, a little crosswind there. So no real issues or threats from that, but it'll be interesting to see how long Harvey goes. Obviously, we think Bauer's the better pitcher. 175 to 187 is what we're looking at here. Houston, Valdez and Castellani have decent numbers on the season, but that doesn't stop anything out there. You're talking about a high 80s game, weather conditions at Coors. It's really hard to go under, but that is sitting at 12.5. And Houston's offense, maybe this is the wake-up Houston needs. I mean, Houston does play in a hitter's ballpark, but now they're actually going out west. You have Lynn going up against Paddock. I like Paddock, but his numbers aren't standing up. The actual better pitcher on the season right now, numbers-wise, is Lance Lynn, only getting 27% of the tickets. And look at this, 121 to 134. And that's got a lot to do with, obviously, San Diego's been hammering Texas, but those bats are really alive for San Diego. Now you move to, more of a pitcher's ballpark. You would think Paddock might have an advantage here, but Lynn's been really good. And then over-under, open up at 7, move to 8. I mean, 7's ridiculous. 3-3, get yourself a push. I don't know why you wouldn't take that each and every time if you get that. Arizona, Oakland, Kelly, and Luzardo. The Dodgers, Urias, and Taijuan Walker. They moved from that series again from LA up to Seattle. That opens up at 9 across the board. Heavy favorite, but came down a little bit, 239 to 220. And then Sandoval. Always get caught up when you see that P, Sandoval, in front of him. Because you want to call him Pablo Sandoval versus Johnny Cueto. I think the Angels can do some damage in this one. Let's check out the weather conditions here also. Good weather. I mean, it's just, the wind's always, you have to remind yourself, the wind always blows out the dead center field. It's just a matter of what that marine layer is doing. But if you can get temperatures here at 70 degrees, that really helps out. It's not that mid-50s where the ball won't travel. So some good things to look at. And again, you guys know my day schedule here. As I dip in, trying to get going here for sportsbookreview.com. Pick out a winner But not a lot of electric things pop up on the board. But as the day goes on, we'll see some lineups out here, and we might be able to dip in and have some fun and put out some winners here. But I do want to thank you for tuning in once again to Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. We'll be back again on Thursday tomorrow. Hopefully my Philadelphia team sweep. Let's go Sixers, let's go Phillies, and let's go Flyers. And meet me again. Hey, look, I got a lot more content to do. If you guys want to keep up with content today, it's the day to do it. And to finally talk some NFL, going to hit the NFC East on a live preview show on sportsbookreview.com at SPR Sports Picks on their YouTube channel. 66,000 people on that YouTube channel. So hopefully we'll be able to get through a nice little show here, have a little bit of football conversation to kick off the NFL schedule on sportsbookreview.com. That's both me and Kyle Proviance. But I'll be back right here on the channels of Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com tomorrow at 11 a.m. Enjoy your afternoon, guys.